Welcome to Bold Talk series where creativity, leadership, ideas, and innovation comes together. My name is Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Brian Afande, the co-founder and CEO at BlackRhino VR. Brian, great seeing you. Welcome to our Bold Talk series. This is our first Bold Talk series of the new year, so I'm really glad that you made it happen. Welcome.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Epi. I'm very happy to be the first this year and also just to be here. So thank you, man.
Yeah, of course. You're looking forward to have a great conversation. So, this is about all the leadership, innovation, creativity. Let's start first with the leadership because without leadership, there is no other innovation that happens. So, can you share a bit about your leadership journey and how it led you to the world of a virtual VR with BlackRhino VR?
Yeah, definitely, man. I think my leadership journey began when I was probably pretty young. Maybe I'll fast forward when I was 16 years old. I lost both my parents in 1997. As the third born in a family of six kids, some of my siblings, the older siblings, two older siblings were not around. So I had to really take care of my younger siblings at the age of 16, even though I had my relatives who were consistently there for us. And this led me to understanding that, for me, I think this was a God-given path to be a leader from even the family context. And then fast forwarding many years later, we started out with an entertainment company with a couple of my friends. And I realized that my passion was really in the culture and creative industries and more so about giving back to the community in terms of my experiences. So one day in 2013, I survived a terrorist attack. About 300 people died in a shopping mall in Kenya. I was stuck there for 6 hours. And this is where it dawned on me when I got out of the shopping mall that I had a gift and an opportunity to do something different and build a legacy. And my promise, as as a co-founder of BlackRhino, has always been to empower the youth to be the XR innovators and inventors of the future. So this, after the terrorist attack, it really gave birth to BlackRhino, based on a lot of work that we did from a feasibility study, a SWOT analysis on the competitive landscape in Africa. We didn't know in 2015 when we were setting BlackRhino, we'd be one of the first African XR companies to do so. And since then, I've always really grown into that leadership role where not it's either thought leadership, also building a team. I have a team of 17 full-time individuals and also some from the ecosystem, another number from the ecosystem. So it's really been one of those things where I feel like I have a strong responsibility on my shoulders to take care of my generation.
This is truly amazing, like what those life experiences can teach us, what and how to embrace certain fields. In your case, VR. I mean, in those days, how was VR in that part of the world? Was it just starting off, or?
No, first things first, you must imagine when I resigned from a prestigious job, I was a brand manager for a company called Converse, a shoe company in Kenya. And you can imagine when I'm resigning from this company and I'm talking to my wife and I'm telling her, babe, I'm going to start a VR company. First things first, I can't even explain what VR is. Because I'm like, you need to wear a VR headset, and this headset does A, B, and C. I've never seen any of that stuff. This is in 2015. Our first shipment for the VR headset was a Oculus DK2.
Gee.
And when you're looking at DK2 first, it was the only piece in Kenya, I think. And also the computing power to run high fidelity experiences with the DK2. There was no computer in my country that was able to do that. So we decided to actually build our first PC with a certain GPU specs, with computers with a specific color science, so that we could be able to just render out immersive experiences. And you can imagine in 2015, virtual reality was not even considered nascent. It was first considered foreign There was technology anxiety. A lot of people didn't know what it was because they don't trust the technology. And this was really one of the things that we had to change as BlackRhino, the mindsets of people to immersive technology. So just to answer your question, back in 2015, virtual reality was non-existent in every way, shape, or form.
Wow.
But I'm happy to say that we try to make it work from, working around, getting partners who saw the vision that what we had. And yeah, and we're here 9 years later.
Gee. Well, the adoption, where is it right now, the adoption in this case?
So I would look at the adoption curve based on different, let me call considerations. I mean, when you look at mass adoption, the good thing about XR is one thing that's working for Africa, it leverages on mobile computing power for augmented reality. So there's a lot of people that are using, young individuals that are using augmented reality on their mobile phones, either for recreational purposes, entertainment. But as BlackRhino, we deploy this as either solutions, content, and scalable enterprise solutions that we put out in the market. So when you look at the adoption curve is really based on one, institutions that have they had appetite for using and adopting technology fast. So you're looking at the early adopters of technology, who are the brands and institutions. But something weird, though, this market is quite peculiar in the sense of a lot of organizations that have adopted to the XR technology are not like your typical brands. We work a lot with people in the developmental sector. They seem to be picking up the technology real quick, either or not it's 360 films or it's VR experiences or augmented reality. A lot of organizations within the developmental sector are working towards and adopting this technology. So you have the laggards. When you look at the adoption curve, you have the laggards that coincidentally are the brands, the big brands like the Coca-Colas, etc., within Kenya and the East African region haven't adopted yet to the technology. I don't know if it's because it's a cultural institution thing that they don't feel like they can leverage on it, or it's still the anxiety thing that's working against us. But yeah, there's a lot of developmental institutions that have adopted the technology.
Can you highlight a specific project or initiative from BlackRhino VR that you believe embodies the intersection of innovative ideas and real world impact?
Definitely. So before I answer that, I want to tell you something. We have a huge challenge in Africa. And when I look at the fourth industrial revolution and how we are responding to the fourth industrial revolution as Africans, it's important for us to be cognizant of the fact that this revolution comes with particular skill sets for the internet economy, what we call the 21st century skill sets. Now, there's a huge disconnection in Africa between the skills that are acquired in institutions of higher learning and the skills that are required in the market. So there's that huge disconnection. And when you look at the statistics, they say I like to talk about the statistics that by 2030, half of the world's youth population between the age of 18 and 25 years old is going to be based in Africa. So you're looking at this youthful workforce that is coming into the market without possessing 21st century skill sets. This can either be a delight for us to see or it will be a disaster to see. So what we did as BlackRhino is there's a fund that came out, which was the EU ACPE fund that was being managed by HIVA, which is an institution in Kenya. And HIVA fund was running this institution. It was running this fund based on innovative ideas within the culture and creative industries. So we created a design document at BlackRhino and we said, we want to make sure that this young force that is getting into the job market can be able to attain 21st century skill sets that requires them to build AR with no code. So we went out and we built one of Africa's first augmented reality no-code platforms that allows individuals to rapidly build and publish augmented reality using no code on their mobile phones. And I feel for us, we got the funding from the EU SCP fund and we put it right into the market because we see ourselves as agents of change that are trying to accelerate the adoption of immersive technology in Africa. And this is a really cool project. It is not a project that is instigated by our clients, but it's one of the value streams and products that BlackRhino has put out in the market, that young people can be able to access 21st century skill sets without the need for code. But wait for it, Epi. There's something amazing about this platform. It's one of the first platforms in the world that has been embedded with a financial inclusive model that allows content creators and brands to coexist in a shared value pay-per-view model, where the brands that are taking up augmented reality and the content creator who created them have a revenue share model, where when they deploy the brand, the person who created the content is also paid from it using this model. And I'm really happy to say that it's one of the first innovative models in the world, but also in Africa, that is going to allow us to address our socioeconomic challenges, leveraging on technology.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, what are the trends? What emerging trends do you see that you find most exciting and promising for the future of VR, not just in Africa but outside of Africa?
Honestly, there's something that's happening right now, irrespective of the barrier of entry to the metaverse. You know, when we talk about the metaverse, we always think about the metaverse. In Africa, we say the metaverse is an opportunity for us to recreate and reframe life as we know it. The metaverse presents an opportunity because we look at it as an opportunity to create a socially inclusive digital society where all voices matter, where all looks matter. So I see the metaverse as a trend that is allowing Africans to reframe their own reality and allow Africans, even though it has a specific barrier of entry to the metaverse based on the HMD, but regardless of that fact, I feel like the metaverse is presenting an opportunities for Africa to build these digital societies, these digital communities, whether or not it's from the queer, whether or not it's from the queer community or from a community that is just experimenting. But we are also seeing very strong use cases happening within the metaverse. This is one of the trends I feel like it's working for us. Let's say, for instance, in South Africa, there's a project where artists, it was instigated during COVID, where artists are coming together to do live music experience in the metaverse. And you see a lot of people getting into these specific worlds just to enjoy different live musical experiences. And I think, of course, looking at augmented reality, there's a lot of work happening around AR for education, because by the sheer fact, augmented reality is one of the few technologies that can be able to superimpose digital technology images in legacy systems. So you see a lot of institutions taking up augmented reality just to augment and create more immersive learning experiences. So these are just some of the few trends that I see happening, and I'm keen to see how augmented reality is going to map out over the next few years because of its accessibility on mobile phone.
Yeah. What are your aspiration, Brian, for BlackRhino VR, and how do you see it contributing to the broader landscape of VR innovation?
That's a really cool question, man. And let me first say that as BlackRhino from the get-go, our brand promise has been underpinned by the fact that we want to empower the youth in Africa to be the XR innovators and inventors of the future. Our work has really been based around accelerating mass adoption of the technology in Africa. That's why we believe in building platforms. And I want to also say something, Epi, that when you look at digital technology, the technology that exists in XR, some of and majority of this technology wasn't built for Africa. Africans are responding to it based on the fact that we are trying to adopt to these global value chains. But it's increasingly important for Africans to start building our own XR technology for Africans by Africans, because innovation in Africa is being propelled by utilitarianism. The way we use it, the utilities that we build, the use cases that we build around the challenges and problems that we have in Africa. So BlackRhino's work is primarily based on mass adoption of the technology across a lot of verticals. So when you're looking at education, you're looking at health, when you're looking at entertainment, edutainment, this is the work that we do. But majority of also the work that we do is training individuals We have a training space where we train individuals because they can't access, there's no cultural and creative institutions that allow young people to be able to access the hardware, access the software. You can imagine in Africa, man, this stuff is really expensive to access. But these young people are thirsty and they're hungry to do something different. So BlackRhino is really trying to create the infrastructure around mass adoption of the technology in every shape or form. It's a huge responsibility on our shoulders, but we also have partners who believe in this sort of philosophy.
That's amazing, man. You got a lot of passion for it. And,
Yeah, I could. Yes, I'm the XR. I live, eat, sleep XR.
yeah, I can completely tell. Um, Now, what does a bold mean to you? Like the word bold, what does it mean to you?
First things first, I just want to say something, Epi. For you to be able to do research, find a small company in Africa that is creating XR solutions and content is a bold move. For you to be able to give a voice to the voiceless. I've been to spaces where just because my skin color cannot get me through doors, and this is the reality of life. I've been to places where even before I talk about I'm an XR expert who's been in the game for 9 years, nobody's going to listen to me. Primarily based on the fact that they've already put me on a certain, what do you call, construct in their minds. But you were bold enough to reach out. And the essence of being bold is also going through the uncharted waters where you can be able to empower individuals, empower organizations, and also create a platform with the Bold Awards where they can be able to also showcase the innovation around it. This for me is the real essence of bold. You're the real superhero, man.
Oh man,
So,
thank you. That's
no, you're the real superhero, giving an opportunity to people like us and organizations. So that's what bold means to me.
wow. That's I truly appreciate that. I think the whole world, not the whole world, a lot of the people, companies out there, they're focusing on mostly on those successes that we hear from media outlets, but we don't take our time to try to figure out who are the other players who don't get that media exposure, but they are truly bold, and I truly find that. What you're doing with the BlackRhino VR. It's truly bold. You truly have a strong passion for it, and such passion like this, no one can take it away. And so, with that, I truly appreciate for you coming on here. Congrats on all your achievements, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for joining me in this Bold Talk series. Until next time, Brian, and be great and be bold always.
Likewise, Epi. God bless you and thank you so much, man.
God bless.
Cheers.